What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Jay and Dro Show. It's been a minute. We took just over a week and a half off to observe the holiday and kind of reset. I'm one of your hosts, Jay Lewis, and joining me today is the infamous Pedro Mirabal. How are you doing, my good man?
What is going on, man? How are you? How was your 4th?
It was excellent. I still got 10 fingers and 10 toes, so gauging it off that, I feel like it was pretty successful. How about yourself? Did you lose any fingers?
I did not lose any fingers, but I did have a hell of a barbecue, which was awesome.
That's what's up, bro. You need all 10 fingers to use, the Xbox controller, the PS4 controller. So that's great news. But yeah, that being said, man, 4th of July is officially kicked off the summer. That's like the holiday that it comes, and it's like 800 degrees in Florida, and it kind of lets you know that, hey, summer's here. All the kids are out of school, the traffic's lighter, and I'm just kind of looking through social media, and everyone's just like kind of chilling, getting lost in a book or a movie or some video games. And so, you were telling me you thought it'd be a cool idea to do a podcast talking about some awesome games that you could check out during the summer months, and really like the idea. So what we did is we went ahead and we wrote down 5 games apiece that we really think that lends themselves well to the summer months. So Pedro, without further ado, my good man, I want to hear this list of yours. So let's do this, bro. I want you to go from 5 to 1. So, we'll start at the bottom and work our way to the top. And you tell me at the end of the podcast what you think the best game for the summer month is. How does that sound? That'll work. All right. Well, what is your number 5 game, my man?
Ori and the Blind Forest. The game is beautiful, to say the least. It runs well on an Xbox One S. They did do an HDR update as well. It was just recently only $10 on the Xbox Live Store. So it is, it is available at a very cheap price as well. The story is pretty emotional, as I've, mentioned in the past. But I mean, it's one of those indie games that, you'd be remiss to not play. Especially since in my opinion, this is probably at least top 2 or 3 indie games in the Xbox One lineup for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those games that, not owning an Xbox, that I've kind of missed out on. You know me, I love a great indie game, and I've heard really good things about the story. It's a little bit of a tearjerker, I hear. That's definitely a game I'll probably be checking out this summer once I get my PC up to specs. I'll probably check it out on PC. But yeah, love that first pick. The visuals are super dope in that game. The color palettes that they use are really interesting. Like, there's a lot of blues and purples that just pop on the screen, and it's like just eye pouring.
It's a really unique looking game aesthetically.
Yeah. How does it control, bro?
Well, I mean, it's a platformer, so I mean, the controls are really good. It's a super hard game, though. That's the big thing is you're gonna be racking your brain trying to figure out how to complete some of the levels in the game. But that's what the summer's for, man. Is to kind of get these hard games out of the way and spend some time trying to complete them.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I love that first pick. My number 5, bro, like I was saying about it being the summer and, all the kids are out for school, and that's a time that a lot of parents like to take time off of work to be with their kids and stuff. So you're going to notice a lot of the games on my list are multiplayer games. So my number 5 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I played Mario Kart 8 back on the Wii, or Wii U, I should say, and I freaking loved it. And now that it's back on the Switch, and even better, it's got the Joy-Con controllers. It's a really, really fun game, to kind of play with your children, or even if you got some buddies that own a Switch, just, meet up at the mall and go hang out, eat some of the good Chinese food at the court, and just pop on the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I'll tell you what, I will say Chinese food, very underrated. Do not sleep on Mall Chinese.
Yeah, right.
That's number one. Number two, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Very, very good pick. My boss had got a Switch and we played it on his, so he just connected it to the TV in the office, and we played that one afternoon, which was super dope.
Yeah, it's such a good game, man, and it's just one of those fun games to kind of just play with some friends, man. And you know, I got to get the niece and the nephews a Switch, bro, so they can you know, check out Mario Kart, man. Like in terms of kart racers, bro,
it's probably the best.
Pretty much, yeah, it really is. I mean, it doesn't have a whole lot of competition, though. I mean, there's these rumors being uttered that we're going to be getting a Crash Team Racing over on the PlayStation, but that remains to be seen. So, I mean, in terms of kart racers, this is, you know, pretty much the best one, and, you know, it's got rave reviews, so definitely highly rated game, and definitely a great game to play this summer. What's your number 4 pick?
My number 4, I didn't have these numbered, so... my number 4 is
oh, okay.
Well, all right. So let me go over what my thinking was behind my list. Right, is I'm the type of guy that, like, you know, work Monday through Friday. So it's Monday through Friday, then get home from work, then eat, then probably watch something on TV. So all my video game playing is probably going to be done on the weekend. So it's going to be something to where maybe I can sink a day or two into the game and finish it and experience the whole story from beginning to end. So my number 4 is going to be Life is Strange, the complete season 1. It was $5 on the Xbox Live sale, which I believe ends in like a day or two. And this game is, you know, a Telltale-like a game, but with, in my opinion, better gameplay, better graphics. It just works on a better engine. I think there's something that, you know, they took the Telltale formula and then they upgraded it with better, you know, graphical fidelity and a smoother engine. Plus the story is super dope. Everyone, it was free on PlayStation, 2 months ago?
Yeah,
gotten great reviews. Like I said, the story is really, really dope. At first I was kind of put off by the fact that it was a story of a teenage girl, because I wouldn't be able to relate to the teenage angst, but they did a good job of you know, kind of getting people over the fact that you're playing as a teenage girl and going through teenage girl angst throughout the game.
Yeah. Again, another one that I always wanted to check out. You know, all my favorite video game personalities rave about the game. It's definitely one that's in the backlog that I will be playing for sure at some point this summer. Another great pick, and I think what was it saying? The girl's like a lesbian, right? Is that what it is? And like she's dealing with, you know, all the intangibles that come along with, you know, coming out. Is that
yeah?
Correct,
that's part of it, and then there's like the supernatural thing that's going on too, and you know, there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of angst going on. I suggest you play it with your wife, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say, this seems like something she'd love.
Like, have her choose the actions and stuff, because I mean, there were times where I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I typically like to play these games as I'm that character, but I couldn't, you know. I'm like, I don't know what I would do in this situation, so I'm just gonna flip a coin and figure it out.
Yeah, dude, I love that. Games that make you kind of choose, and sometimes it's a little hard to relate with the character and stuff like that. But dude, that's another great pick. My number 4 pick, bro. Again, you know, like I was saying, you know, kids being out of school, got plenty of downtime through the summer. This list was a list that I made that kind of wasn't, just me thinking in terms of, myself, who I have a full-time job and I don't have all this disposable time, but there are a lot of kids out there, and teachers for that matter, that just got the summer off. So, what better to do than get lost in a huge open world game with, hundreds of hours. So, Zelda Breath of the Wild, bro, I really feel like that'd be a dope game to kind of devour throughout the summer months. It's one of those games that's a huge time commitment. So, again, summer, great time to do it, especially if you're somebody like, Mike, or all these parents that I know that, they stock up all their vacation time and they take a week or two off. So this is a great game to kind of, just get lost in, Breath of the Wild. To complete the game, I heard it's like over 100 plus hours, and it's just a good game to get immersed in the summer months, bro. What do you think of Zelda?
I agree. I mean, so as a kid, most of my fondest memories were not during the school year, but during the summer months, because I got a chance to play, the old school Zeldas, the Marios, the Perfect Darks, the Golden Eyes, etc., etc. So that's an awesome pick, especially when you're thinking about the kids that are out of school, and they have the time to be able to sink into a game such as expansive and vast as Breath of the Wild. So, I mean, I think that's going to provide a lot of fond memories for this generation of kids.
Yep, 100%, bro. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is going to be the Game of Thrones Season 1 Telltale game. That was free. That's free for this month on the PS4. Awesome game if you're a fan of Game of Thrones. By the way, we are doing this on the week that season 7 premieres, which is a very timely shout out to Game of Thrones.
That's why I like this pick, bro. That's why I like this pick, because if you play it right around nowish, and then tonight the new season premieres, bro, that's a great freaking pick. You play it right along the launch of the new season.
So this takes in the time frame of in between season 5 and 6. It is around a new family that isn't in the Game of Thrones television show, or has been mentioned a little bit in the book series, but hasn't really been fleshed out. So this is entirely new characters interacting with existing characters. The cool thing about the game is, though, man, any decision you make is eerily similar to the decisions that they make in Game of Thrones. Either way, you're fucked. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Any decision you make will end up being something bad, which is so awesome. Because that's exactly what happens in the game, man. Any decision that they make, there's always like, oh, okay, they got out of this predicament. No, here comes a bigger one, as a result of, whatever they decided to do, or whatever they decided to say. Oh, they decided to lie. This is what happens. It's a super, 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 dope game. And, it's probably one of the best Game of Thrones stories to be told, like little mini stories that they have to be told thus far in that world. So I like it a lot. There should be a season 2 coming soon. Full disclosure, the game runs like trash. It is full of glitches. They did try to patch some out, but it's Telltale, so it runs like garbage.
I was just gonna tell you, it being a Telltale game and all, how does it run? Like, are you getting error codes getting thrown at you? Is it crashing all the time? Like, those are typical problems to have with the Telltale
man.
game.
There were a lot of times where people would, like, the mouths of the characters would be moving, but there'd be no audio, and then the audio just wasn't sunk with the characters. A lot of characters would die, but I wouldn't see them die. They'd just like disappear off the screen. There wouldn't be like the death animation wouldn't work. And nonetheless, regardless, I was still very happy with the game.
The story was still good.
I was very happy with the game. So.
Nice. Yeah, and sometimes you gotta just let things like that go. I will say that Telltale needs to design a new engine, man. It's time. Like they make great games, but you know the only counterpoint against that is the fact that their engine is kind of trash, man. And I'd love to see them revamp the engine and continue to make these games better and better. Like you talking about the death animations and the mouse not syncing it up, bro. That reminds me of like a Bethesda game, because you know a lot of times like the Fallouts, you'll get that same thing to happen, and it really blows the immersion for me, dude. Like, and then just the weird facial animations to begin with. Sometimes like when I'm trying to get tuned into the story, and I just can't seem to do it because it's like the person I'm looking at is talking to me, but their lips are just totally not syncing up, and it blows it for me. So, yeah, definitely Bethesda and Telltale, they need to fix that for sure. Another great pick though, dude. I love it. I love Game of Thrones, one of my favorite shows of all time. Super pumped for the show tonight. You gonna be watching tonight?
Absolutely, I'll be watching tonight, man. I won't be on there spoiling.
I'm so envious.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, right. I was going to say I have to wait until at least a day or two later when I can get it on the Fire Stick because, you know, your boy don't have cable at the moment, but that should be coming soon. So, hope you enjoy it. And, like you said, please don't spoil it for me. I'm sure you won't. My number 3 pick, bro, again, going with the whole open world, let's get lost. I'm pretty sure you can figure out what my number 3 is. It's another open world game. What do you think it is, bro?
I mean, it's a little low for it to be this game, but I'm going to throw it out there and say it's Mad Max.
No, bro, Horizon Zero Dawn, man. Actually. But yo, shout out to Mad Max. I will say that, you know, I'm definitely someone who likes to champion that game. It is a flawed game, but if you are into the Mad Max lore, you're going to love Mad Max. I would have put that on there, but I really feel like that would have been more for me. You know, that game didn't really speak to the mass audiences out there. But no, I went with Horizon Zero Dawn, bro. I love the female protagonist. The story's super, super good. And this is coming from someone who hasn't played the game, but I know enough about it. I've you know, watched all the reviews and stuff. So, and then, you know, you've told me great things about it. This is a game that I've been waiting to get my PS4 Pro and played in all its HDR goodness in 4K. So this is definitely a game that, again, I think having a lot of downtime in the summer, you can get lost in this awesome story and sink a good 60 hours into it and have one hell of a time. They recently updated the game with a new photo mode, and bro, that's the type of shit that I love to kind of play around with. I love taking thumbnails. Whenever I play like Tomb Raider or an Uncharted game, which also those are 2 other great games to play throughout the summer. But I love just when I'm looking at these amazing vistas, dude, I love just grabbing thumbnails. You know, I'll throw them up on social media. I'll use them as a background on the PS4 dashboard, bro. Like, these are the games where you just kind of like, they're just so beautiful. The graphics are amazing. The controls are excellent. It's a game that you're going to love, just getting lost in the story. And that's why I had to go with Horizon Zero Dawn, bro. What's your thoughts on that pick being someone?
Well, I completely agree with it. I think that this is a perfect time for someone to kind of get lost in that game. The DLC is coming soon as well. You can probably, if you don't do any of the side missions, you could probably finish the game in 20 to 30 hours, which, I mean, that's for a kid that's not, you know, doesn't have to go to work or anything. You know, that's a week. So I think that's a very well spent week to experience that game. Highly recommend it. It's not on sale anywhere, which kind of sucks because, you know, you kind of want to, especially if you're a kid, you kind of want to steer your parents towards a cheaper game that they can buy you just to, you know, so they don't have to pay to have you go to some camp or something like that. But it's worth the $60 for sure.
Yeah, do you happen to know by chance when that DLC is hitting? Because that's something that I meant to include on here, but
I don't think they said when it was hitting, when I was doing it, but I'll look it up right now for you.
Okay, I'm guessing sometime around August, but that's just pure speculation on that one. while you look that over, I'll go ahead and give my number 2, and then I'll get yours afterward. My number 2, bro, is Ghost Recon Wildlands. Me and you checked out the beta, and I know you didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but I think that's one of those games that, it's 4-player co-op. It's a great game to kind of just hop on with some buddies and just get lost in the late hours of the night, taking out these, drug smugglers. And I love the setting. It's got, reggae whenever you get in the cars and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the game. The customizability. Oh, wait, no, I just made up a word. Customization is what I'm trying to say. Deep customization. You can, put tats on your character, put bandanas on their face. You can make them look more tactical, or you can kind of make them look more like what you would think a modern day, murder for hire would look like, with just some jeans and like some sneakers. So I really love the game. I love all the different perks that the game has. Like, you have your little deployable drone that can scout out the area, so you can highlight the enemies on the map for both yourself and whoever else you're playing with. Doing that with you, bro, was some of the most fun I've had this year on the PlayStation, actually. What's your thoughts on Ghost Recon Wildlands?
I think that the game is fun if you've got 1 to 3 more people to play it with. If you don't, and you're trying to hook up with someone online, like a random person, it may not be as fun. But the game does have potential. The one thing I don't like is that it's not like local split screen or local co-op. That would be super dope, because then you could just have your friends over and play it. But for online play, man, I mean, everybody plays online anyway, so I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, and now that you said like the whole split screen and playing local thing, it made me realize I don't have anything like that on my list. But man, that's a great point. Anything that you can play like on a shared screen and play some good couch co-op games. Like my favorite of all time was Zombie Nation. That's a great couch co-op game. If anyone's looking for something to play 2 players, you got a second controller and a buddy staying the night, or just coming over, your buddy's having some beers, you just get lost and kill some zombies. That's a great point, man. Couch co-op games for the win. What's your number 2?
My number 2 was my game of the year for 2016, Batman: The Telltale Series. This is a game that you can play. You can sink in some time on like a Saturday or a Sunday.
Pedro all over that Telltale dick, bro.
These games are just so good, though. These games are way too good to not give a shout out to. Like I said, I'm a fan of that game type because, again, the individual episodes are about an hour to an hour and a half. So, you could, let's say you got this time to kill before you go to your barbecue, whatever the case may be. All right, I'm just going to play this episode. And then you go to the barbecue, then you come back, and you play another episode, then you wake up on Sunday, and you got nothing else to do, and you finish the rest of the season, man. This one is the best Batman story I have seen. This is the best Batman origin story I have ever seen. Guaranteed.
Right,
yeah.
So this is like you're playing as both Batman, but it's kind of more behind the scenes of like the day-to-day life of like Bruce Wayne, right? It kind of follows more of that.
Yeah, it does. It does give the backstory to Bruce Wayne and kind of what happens, or it revisits what happened on that fateful night when his parents got killed. I'm not gonna give you any more than that because then it'll ruin the story. But there are some amazing plot twists. The Joker is great in it. There is a new a villain that you encounter in there as well. Like I said, this is probably the best origin story, and not Batman origin story, but like this is why Little Wayne. This is why Bruce Wayne is kind of what he is right now, and the struggles he's having, realizing kind of the history that his dad had.
Yeah, I like that pick. Quick shout out to the guys over at Podcast Beyond over there at IGN, Alana Pierce and Marty Sleva, they both talked very highly about the game. They're both big believers in that, Telltale Batman game. If I'm not mistaken, isn't there like a little bite-sized VR experience too?
That's a different thing that's inside Batman's cowl. So you actually kind of see things through like the detective mode. I don't know if you've ever played Arkham, but Arkham has a detective mode in the game. It's essentially doing that, but in VR. Now, the cool thing about this Batman game is if you have friends who like Batman, or if you just like, let's say you live with roommates, or you've got a couple of kids and you want them to play the game. Number one, there is a sex scene in it, so I wouldn't recommend that you play one of the episodes, but whatever, however you want to expose children to that is your choice. I'm not gonna judge. I just need to put that out there. This has crowd mode, so they could actually play along, and they could, kind of help, bring the story along and say, okay, cool. So I think Bruce Wayne should say this, or Bruce Wayne would react like this, or Batman would react like that. And it works off a voting system. So, if you've got 3 kids, 2 out of 3 say, Batman, or you should go as Batman to complete this mission. And one says, nah, we should go as Bruce Wayne. The 2 out of 3 would work to get Batman to complete that mission. So I think that's pretty cool too. It also is a pretty cool game to play at parties, especially if you have people there that are huge fans of DC and or Batman.
I love it, bro. Anytime's a good time to play a Batman game, in my opinion. Most of the Batman games out there are pretty good. Some reason the Arkham games didn't really resonate with me. The whole, which one was it where you drive the car? That was the newest one, right? You drive the Bat. That really blew the immersion for me, man. Every time, like, I was getting into the game, it'd be another damn, like, drive the Batmobile mission, and it'd blow the immersion for me, because it's like, as beautiful as that game looks and as awesome as it is to be the Batman and like glide around the city, like the last thing I want to do is get in that damn Batmobile, which doesn't handle great. I feel like the controls were terrible on it. Yeah, I mean, that's the only one I didn't really like, but the original Arkham, what is it, Arkham Asylum? That one's dope. That's another great summer game if you're gonna stick with that Batman theme. So yeah, another great pick by you, Pedro. We're at the top of our list now, so lay it on me. What do you think's the best game to play this summer?
Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor is going to be, if you are interested in Shadow of War or saw anything during E3 that said, man, this game looks pretty cool, you should totally get Shadow of Mordor. This is one of the seminal games of this generation. The Nemesis system is revolutionary. I hope more games decide to go with using the Nemesis system. The procedural generation of the enemies that you pick. Graphically, it's amazing. The storyline is really cool. This is coming from someone who does not like The Lord of the Rings, who thought the Lord of the Rings series of movies were way too long, and has now sat through maybe half of one. But I really, 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 really enjoy Shadow of Mordor, the world that they built, and the story behind it, man. Especially now where they've got the new Nemesis mode, where you build your own. So what you do is you start the game with everything unlocked. You've got the little board of war chiefs and then the captains, and then you just you can go down the line and either branding them to turn them into your ally, or you can try to kill them and fight them and build your nemesis. Why do they want it? Why did they put out an update for a game that's nearly 3 years old? Because that nemesis will follow you into the new game and your biggest ally will follow you into the new game as well. And you can continue to build your story in Shadow of War, which is super dope.
I love it, bro. A great pick. You turned me on to that game. It was on the flash sale for the PS4 not too long ago. I got it for $5, and I figured for $5 it was worth the gamble. And so I started checking it out. And next thing I knew, it was about 60, 70 hours later, and I sunk quite a lot of time into the game. Anytime the game starts to feel somewhat repetitive, you end up unlocking some new perk for the character, and you can start playing a completely different way. Because there was a little hang up I was having there for a while where it did start to feel a little bit repetitive, but it's simply because I was kind of playing the game wrong and, not unlocking the character's abilities. But once I started going down the skill trees and stuff like that, it just kept getting better and better, sucking me in more and more. Like, the stealth combat is super good in the game. You can hide like in the like little leaves and then lure the enemies to you and kill them, silently. And then like that was the funnest thing for me to do in the game, was just kind of see how long I could go without being like detected. And like there's this one perk where you kind of like you aim at the enemy and like shoot your bow and arrow, but it transports you to that enemy, and then you could just stab them right in the back, bro. Like, I freaking love the mechanics in the game. It some of the best controls that I've ever seen. I love the hack and slash nature of the combat. And the combat gets super deep too, bro. Like the more you play and the more you unlock, like you start linking these attacks, and it's really fun. And then just being able to use the environmental like kills, like like when you can shoot the beehives and get all the bees will kill the enemies for you, and you can even mount a freaking what's the animal's name in there? Caragor, bro. Those things are so much fun. Because like they're there, they can harm you as much as they harm the enemy. But yeah, if you mount it, then you can just sit there and freaking chew through enemies, which is so much fun, man. Like, very, very, very great game. Very good pick. It's one of my favorite games as well. And again, I knew you were gonna pick that one, but for good reason. Bro, my number one pick. I had a really hard time between two games that I really feel like deserve the crown. So I'm gonna kind of split the crown with two different games. Will you allow that, bro? Okay. So my number one is both Friday the 13th and Until Dawn. Growing up as a kid, bro, during the summer months, I lost many hours playing Friday the 13th back on the NES. And then just watching like all the Jason and, Freddy Krueger films, like those were my favorite things to do during the summer. And now we have a game that lets you play as Jason or a counselor. Like, I think Friday the 13th is a super dope game. It has some bugs when it first came out, which through lots of patching, I think that the game's pretty solid at this point. The kind of like hook to the game is you either play as one of 4 counselors, depending on which counselor you spawn in as. They all have like unique abilities. Like one of them will be smart and be able to build like things, which, he's the nerd. Then you have the jock who can, kind of do more damage. And like, so, the idea of the game is you're trying to get off of or out of, Camp Crystal Lake and get away from Jason. So you and the 3 other counselors have to work together to get like either, a vehicle to, get gasoline and get the engine running and stuff like that. All while Jason is kind of lurking. If you spawn in as Jason, you're kind of hidden to the counselors, so you can move around the map freely and plot your attack. You kind of got to pick your fights. Am I going to try to lure one of the counselors away from the others? It's a game of cat and mouse, and it really adds a lot of tension to the game. And again, back to the whole, if you got 2 or 3 people to play with, you are going to have such a blast. What's your thoughts on
Friday the 13th, man, is one of those multiplayer games that's taking the gaming scene by storm at the moment. I do like the fact that the developer is doing a great job of making sure that, number one, the consumer is being updated on what they're gonna do to make sure that the game is as stable as possible, and two, getting the updates out in a very timely manner. I know it did have a rocky start, but that's par for the course nowadays when it comes to new games, especially from a team that's very small. You kind of expect that, unfortunately, in this generation. Yeah. But I mean, they did a good job in terms of making sure that's been updated and that the game plays well, man. It's super fun. That's a fun game to watch being played too, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, you can go on a Twitch stream and just burn an hour watching the game being played, which is a very rare.
Yeah, dude, this is the perfect type of game for Twitch streamers. That's why you see a lot of, people playing it over there on Twitch, because it's one of those games where, being a viewer, just watching people play, it's so funny seeing, like, how someone will make a mistake and Jason will, find them. Because that's one of the things, too, is, like, as a counselor, you can hide from Jason. So there's all these fun little neat mechanics. And like you said, they had to do a little bit of a course correction. There was bugs when it came out, but they communicated to the audience. They gave some free updates, like I guess there was like skin packs and things of that nature that they gave away for free. So back in the good graces of the gamers. Like you said, that's 2007 in a nutshell. Not every game launches perfect. It is what it is. And then my second pick, bro, which was Until Dawn. I ended up running that game in the red box, and I was playing it. My wife's like, "Oh, what are you playing?" And next thing I knew, she kind of took over the controller. She dug the story so much, bro. Like, my wife's not the biggest gamer by any stretch of the imagination, unless it's a Nintendo game. She loves the Marios. She loves, the Mario Karts and things of that nature. But yeah, dude, she was totally sucked in, and it was such a fun game just to sit on the couch and play with the wife and really get into the story and the characters. And I think the game is one of those games that just kind of, again, just comes out of nowhere. And like, there's already talks of an Until Dawn 2 in the works, which I'm super hyped for that. Did you play Until Dawn?
I did not play Until Dawn. That was a game that I was planning on playing it and then didn't, but then watched it on Twitch. And was like, I need it. It is free this month though on PSN. So I mean, if you're a PlayStation user, you should definitely take advantage of downloading that game and Game of Thrones, which are both free on PSN this month.
Bro, since you had a lot of picks that were like story-driven narrative type of games, I highly recommend you play this game. I think you'll love getting into the psyche of each character and kind of learning, their motivation and stuff like that. Like, I think you're somebody that would really dig this game.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it and I was like, I need to play this. I want to see if I can, have everybody live at the end of the
day. Yeah, definitely. Great summer game. And then one more recommendation I had for you, since you had a lot of games that were kind of like, a little bit more bite-sized games to kind of get in and out. Like you said, play in a day or two. Rime recently came out on, I think it's on PlayStation and Xbox and the PC for that matter. But Rime, it's R-I-M-E. Check into that, bro. Super pretty game. Smaller indie title. I think it retails for $30. You familiar with Rime? Dude, really, really fun game. It's kind of like it's like a platformer, and it's like a puzzle adventure kind of game, and I really think you dig it, dude. I'm hearing amazing things about the game, and the soundtrack is really good as well, bro. Definitely look into that.
Take a look at that then.
Yeah. But with that being said, guys, that's our favorite games to play this summer. Feel free to hit us up on Facebook and give us your picks for your favorite summer games over at facebook.com/thesquaregamers. Pedro, you got anything to close on?
No, we covered it all. Have fun this summer, and let us know what you guys think of our picks.
Yeah, definitely. I had a really good time on this podcast. I'm glad to be back. Hopefully we won't be missing any more weeks unless there happens to be a holiday and we're busy that week. But other than that, we will be here week after week for the Jay and Dro Show. Everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week for the Jay and Dro Show. Later.
Peace.